I have referred the school. I will refer the school, and I will absolutely continue to, because I am floored at the level of education that they're getting, and really unbeknownst to the children, because it happens in such an organic fashion as well.
Hi, I'm Danielle and I'm from Our Kids. I just spoke with Dina, the mother of 2 children who attend Maria Montessori School. Listen to Dina talk about Maria Montessori's values and how they implement their pedagogy in their daily school activities. And tell me a little bit more about Nicoletta and Zoe. What are they like? What are their likes and dislikes?
So Nicoletta is almost eight years old. She'll be 8 in October. She loves animals. She loves nature. She loves making new friends. And really, she loves younger children. So one of the interesting things about her experience at Maria Montessori is that because each classroom is grouped into 3-year cohorts, in her later years, she was able to really take on that mothering nature that she has and help guide the younger students that came into the classroom that were shy or nervous or hesitant. And she instantly just like recognized that and gravitated towards them. So I think that it's definitely a good fit for her, being that natural sort of mother figure to be in that kind of environment. And Zoe just turned 6, and she is just a little ball of energy. She's very artistic. She's very outspoken. She just loves sort of getting really immersed in anything artistic. So she loves painting, she loves arts and crafts, talking a lot. So she's my natural sort of artistic little leader, I would say.
Zoe must love the background that you have behind you there.
Yes, she does.
And can you explain their learning styles? What kind of learners are they?
I would say that they're both experiential learners. So one thing that I love about the philosophy of the school is that it's very self-directed and self-guided as well. So they're able to gravitate towards what they like and really use material and manipulate the material so that they can really learn and get the foundations of whatever they're working with. My daughters also go to a Greek school on the weekend, and that's more of your traditional type of classroom setting where there's desks and the whole class is focused on the one teacher's presentation to the class. And I find that they are not as engaged in that type of learning. So very much tailored towards getting up and hands-on type of learning. So that's why it works out well that the Montessori philosophy is about that. Obviously, we didn't know that going into it because both my daughters started at Maria Montessori at 18 months. So maybe the learning style is a nature of having grown up in that environment as opposed to the traditional classroom, but they definitely both thrive in an environment where they're able to navigate and choose their own adventure, if you will.
And that fosters personal independence and responsibility, I would imagine, as well, because they're giving them the ability to take control and kind of navigate what works for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to see what they come home with and what sort of they've been working on each day. So instead of it being like we all worked on a subject of photosynthesis, for example, my older daughter came home and she had a beautiful watercolor presentation postcard of leaves, and it was describing photosynthesis. And because she enjoys painting as well, her teacher suggested that maybe she'd like to color the presentation with watercolors as opposed to just detailing it with pen and paper. So it was nice because she was able to get immersed in that project and spent probably 2 hours working on it and created this beautiful Bristol board presenting photosynthesis. So it was really, really nice.
Can you explain the process that you took to choose Maria Montessori? Were you considering other options? And if so, why did you choose this school?
I was always considering Montessori, and I did some research in sort of other Montessoris in the area. And through my observations, I realized that Maria Montessori was going to be our home for our children because, first of all, it's nestled in nature. So when you're approaching the school, it's sort of set back in a beautiful sort of geography covered with pine trees and just gorgeous nature. And then as you're walking down the path to get into the school, it's just a very sort of engaging sort of look to the school. And then as soon as we walked in and we observed some of the classrooms, I realized that the level of serenity and calmness at this classroom was nothing like I experienced in other observations of schools that I observed with my husband. So I immediately felt like it was just serene and peaceful, and I wanted this to be where my daughters sort of go to school on a daily basis. The more I looked into it, I realized that the program offering is robust as well. So there's an outdoor garden where their children can garden in the spring and summer. The playscape in the backyard is made of wood structures, and there's a chalkboard outside for students to be able to just practice fine motor skills and gross motor skills on the playscape. And it's just very aesthetically beautifully designed inside and out. There's pets in every classroom for the students to be able to take responsibility and take care of another animal. So all of these sort of factors contributed to our choosing it, because above and beyond the Montessori philosophy, which they absolutely adhere to, there were different elements as well that were important to us in choosing that school.
And what was the application process like?
Pretty standard. So there was a paper application that we had to complete. I've noticed an evolution of it through the years. So every year we do need to complete an updated sort of family snapshot. And it's not yet gone digital, but it has been streamlined. And there's post-dated checks that need to be submitted. There's a family fund fee that is submitted at the initial application as well. There's a one-time non-refundable deposit that gets attached to your initial application, and pretty standard year after year. You just submit the same application and your post-dated checks.
And how did your children respond to learning at Maria Montessori overall? Have they had a positive or negative experience so far?
It's been extremely positive, and the evolution for them and the journey for them has been beautiful. So they've gone through the toddler program, through CASA, and now they're both in lower elementary. It is a small school, which is another reason why we chose this school. I think there's about a population of about 125 students. And because there's only one lower elementary class and one upper elementary class, my daughters are actually together this year in the lower elementary. So, I mean, going from toddler to CASA to elementary has been just a rite of passage for them. They have really taken advantage of everything that they could in each of the classrooms, and made their way up to lower elementary, and are so excited about the development that they've had and about getting to upper elementary, which is just like the pinnacle for them. And even now they talk about their grad trip. So at the end of grade 6, the principal takes that graduating class on a grad trip. And even now that they're 3 and 6 years away from that, they're excited about it. So they've really become members of that little community, and they know like what to expect, and they know what's next and who's graduating, and they've really become little citizens of that school. And I think every student and every parent really takes that role and is invested in their children's development through the school, through the, what's the word I'm looking for, through that journey.
I'm curious to know if their experience translates into the home atmosphere as well. So have you noticed an improvement in their personal growth and development as a result of them attending Maria Montessori?
I'd say that that becomes very prevalent when you're around other students that don't go to Montessori school. Things that we've been able to do at home are to make things more accessible for them. So we have a drawer that they can access that has their plates and their cups, and they're able to participate by setting the table, and they don't need to ask for help. So independence is a huge factor at school, and then we're able to create that environment at home as well for them. Grace and courtesy, pushing in your chairs, these are all things that they talk about at school that we've been able to mirror at home as well. But when we're around other children, it becomes a little bit more obvious because let's say we're at a birthday party and our children will eat quietly and offer water to their peers and share things, whereas other kids, like their parents are either helping them pour some water, or the children, once they're done eating, they just walk away from the table and just leave everything behind. And then when you see other students that are from a Montessori sort of philosophy, or you're at a birthday party of a Montessori peer, it's just a very calm, different dynamic. So the children all sit at the table, they engage in conversations. When they're done, they clean up their plate, they push in their chair. It's hard to believe, but it's a surreal experience to watch. It's unbelievable, actually.
And if you can name one thing, one individual thing that each of your daughters like the most about their experience there so far, what do you think that might be?
For Zoe, I definitely think it's the ability to build her own adventure. So really gravitating to whatever she's interested in that day and not needing to follow the teacher's agenda, for example. So she's really a strong-willed, independent person, and the ability to decide what her day is going to look like really works for her. And for Nicoletta, I would say it's really the relationships that she's able to build, because she's with the same teacher for 3 years and really with the same group of children for 3 years as well, as she transitions from each from toddler to CASA to elementary. So being able to keep those relationships consistent and foster them has really been what has helped her succeed, I think.
And as a parent, what is one thing that you personally appreciate and really like about the Maria Montessori experience that your daughters have had so far?
There's a couple things. So we definitely chose the Montessori philosophy because we agree with the pedagogy. And I would say that Maria Montessori is deeply rooted in the philosophy. So things that other schools offer, for example, like email communication or technology in the classroom, Maria Montessori does not offer. Some people see that as a weakness, but really I see that as a strength because they lay true to their principles and their foundation. So I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate the student first mentality that they have there. So it's really about taking our cues from the students, understanding what they want to focus on or what they want to do. So for example, when the weather's nice, we know that students want to be outside. So they've been able to translate some of the subjects to be outside right now. So reading and science and obviously physical activity has gone outside. So I really, really appreciate that they're not in a traditional classroom. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the administration. So the teachers and the assistants are so invested in the student's success as well. So I know that over the summer, some of the teachers and assistants actually reach out just to stay connected with my daughters. So they want to know how they're doing, how they're spending their summer, just to have a conversation and say, I miss you. Or my one daughter's birthday is over the summer, so they call to say like, happy birthday. So I really, really appreciate that investment that they've made in the students, in my children as well.
So I want to continue on the topic of values a little bit more, but we know that every school will typically have a list of values that they write down and put on their website or in the school itself. But as a parent, you've gotten a chance to see what the values are like firsthand with having your daughters enrolled in the school. So from your opinion, what would you say Maria Montessori's values are in actual practice?
Yeah, so I would say definitely respect for children and respect for their journey, and really fostering that love of learning and that and independence. So we often have guest speakers that come to the school to talk to us about how we as parents can support our children through the Montessori journey. And it really is about helping them foster their independence, not doing things for them, but helping the students or your children do things for themselves. And I would say that that is definitely one of the foundations of the Montessori values at Maria Montessori. Um, Really creating an environment that allows the students and our children to do things for themselves. And that comes from everything being accessible and everything being child size, so that when my daughter picks up a broom at school, for example, it's not a massive broom that she feels intimidated by. It's an age appropriate and sort of skill appropriate size, so that when she's sweeping, she's able to do it, and then she builds confidence from that. So fostering that independence is definitely, I would say, the number one goal and the number one value that really helps students succeed in their journey.
Is there anything about your experience there that you found surprising? Something that you may not have expected until you were kind of thrown into the private school experience?
Other than really PA days being quite generous, I wasn't expecting that, definitely. But I mean, when you look at the amount of learning that students are doing, it has to come from the teachers and the administration spending a lot of time in professional development. So I completely appreciate the time that they take to develop themselves, and I understand that that comes at the cost of a PA day. The other thing that surprised me, I would say, is that there's no technology in the classroom, and that there's no direct communication with the teachers. So if I want to connect with the teacher, I do have to go through the front office, and then a time is set up for that. Whereas I know that some of my peers whose children go to a different school, they're able to directly just send an email and talk about an issue with their respective teachers. These are very minor things, I would say, but I know that when parents are making decisions as to what school to send them to, it's really important to be able to directly communicate with a teacher for some parents, or to learn skills related to technology is important for some parents as well. We're of the mindset that they're going to learn that one way or another. So let our children spend their time in the classroom learning about things that they're not going to learn from their friends or on the weekend from home, right?
And would you be able to share a fond memory that you had at the school so far? Something that stands out to you?
I would say that a fond memory that most parents actually share is the end of year picnic that we have for our students. So on the last day of school, we all gather together in a park, and the teachers, or the principal, I should say, puts together a slideshow that captures a year in review of every student's sort of journey through pictures. And it's really, really beautiful because all of the families are able to gather together. The children are all nestled in the front of the projector. And every time they see their peer, they just scream their name, and they're so excited to see their peers on the screen. And then we just spend the rest of the day as a little community in the park, and there's a picnic, and there's popcorn, and there's games, and everybody really looks forward to that end of year picnic. I would say that that's a fond memory we all share.
And would you be able to describe a typical family at Maria Montessori? Would you say that their values and goals align amongst parents?
I would absolutely say that. And I know that every parent is really invested in all the children's journey. So whenever possible, we always try to either get together on weekends or we organize events so we can all get together. So I know that we have in the fall, we have a corn roast where all the families get together. We have a skating party on the Winter Family Day long weekend. We have parents social gatherings as well. So like parents only, we get together once or twice a year, I would say. And then the end of year picnic as well, and then numerous play dates in between. So it's really important for us that our children foster their relationship inside and outside of the school. So I would definitely say our values are aligned.
It sounds like there's quite a few opportunities for parent involvement if parents want and choose to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was part of the parent group network as well for 1 year as a treasurer. We're always looking for parent involvement, even if it's just to serve watermelon at our picnic, for example, or be the president of our parent group network, or help us by getting Christmas cards or holiday cards for our teachers. We definitely encourage it, and there's definitely opportunity for parents to get involved.
So I'm curious to know a little bit more about the relationship between parents and staff and administration. You mentioned that you can't have email communication with the teachers, but you can set up an appointment to meet with them. Do you find that through that experience, they foster an open door policy and they do facilitate an environment where you feel comfortable communicating with the teachers?
Oh, absolutely. I don't look at that per se as a negative that we can't directly communicate with them, because I understand their time is spent on the students. I just think that some parents really want that direct communication, but that's not to say that there isn't opportunity to talk to parents, to teachers directly, and they are absolutely involved in the well-being of their students. So just to give you an idea, my older daughter is very sensitive to her environment, and unfortunately during the pandemic, when we were home for the 6 months, her teacher did reach out a couple of times just independently, just to see how Nicoletta's doing, how she's handling being at home, how she's doing without her social interactions. So she took that upon herself, because she knows that it's important for Nicoletta to be with her peers and to have sort of predictability in her day with who she's going to see and what she's going to do, etc. So there's absolutely involvement from the teachers to the well-being of the students as well.
What do you think the relationship is like between students and students? Do you feel like it's an inclusive and welcoming environment and they foster an ability to have long-lasting friendships?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of the reason that exists is because, like I said, they've been with each other for so many years. It's not like a traditional classroom where every year they have a different group of students in their class. They are with these students for probably most of their journey. So my older daughter has been with this one boy, for example, from 18 months, and they were able to be in the same CASA classroom, and then they're now in the same lower elementary classroom, and then they will go to the same upper elementary classroom. So they have fond memories of each other from as far back as they can remember. They've been to each other's birthday parties, and we've been to social gatherings, and they see each other every day. They are deeply invested in each other, and those relationships are not like any other ones that my daughters have had. So the fact that they can spend so much time with the same group of children and support each other and work with each other, and really they absolutely love all of their peers. So it's been amazing.
And does the school have a lot of extracurricular opportunities available for the students?
No, it doesn't. So really the day ends at 3:30, and then there's an after school program that goes up until 6 p.m. But other than the sort of parent-led gatherings that I talked about, the corn roast and the skating, etc., which is organized by the parent group network, there are no extracurricular activities offered.
And I want to play devil's advocate for a moment because we've talked about such wonderful aspects of the school, but I'm curious to ask you if there was a weakness that you can identify or an opportunity for growth or development, what do you think that might be?
I would definitely say, I would say probably some sort of level of technology in the classroom. And again, I said that this was a strength because they are deeply rooted in the Maria Montessori philosophy. But definitely, if there's going to be one progressive aspect that I think I would like to see, it would definitely be some sort of technology because in today's day and age, it is unavoidable. So even if it's learning to type or learning to navigate and conducting research on a laptop, for example, I would definitely say that that's something that I would not mind having worked into the curriculum.
And I want to be respectful of your time. So before we wind down and ask you my last couple questions, I'm curious to know, is there anything about the school that I have not asked you that you feel is important to mention yourself?
I think we covered almost everything. One thing that might be important for parents to know is that Maria Montessori does not offer a lunch program. So parents are required to bring lunches every day. And why this is important to Maria Montessori is they stand by the fact that it helps with the whole philosophy, really. So children are encouraged to help prepare their lunch at home. Then they're encouraged to remember to bring their lunch to school. So again, taking ownership and responsibility. They are able to self-regulate and eat whatever they want from their packed lunch. And then everything is returned back home the next day or the same day, in the afternoon, so that parents have a sense of what children are eating and what children are not eating. And then we can engage in a conversation. Oh, Zoe, I noticed you didn't eat your celery today. Did you run out of time? Or maybe you just didn't feel like celery today. So from beginning to end, it really just solidifies and reiterates the whole philosophy of taking responsibility for something, self-regulating how much you're going to eat and what you're going to eat, and then sort of having that conversation at home with your parents about, oh, I ran out of time, or I was distracted, or I closed my lunch early because I wanted to play. Whereas other parents that I know that have chosen other Montessoris that do offer a lunch program, the parent doesn't have that insight into what's being eaten, for example, how much is being eaten, there's no sort of involvement with participating in making your lunch or packing a snack, for example. So I think that some parents may not like the aspect of it, but I, for one, really appreciate having the ability to make lunch with my daughters and then understand what they like. Maybe they're cranky when I pick them up and then I see that they didn't really eat much of their lunch. So it's really telling. But I think it's important for parents to know that they don't offer a lunch, and these are the reasons why.
And speaking of parents that might be watching this interview, I think I might know the answer to this question, but would you recommend Maria Montessori to parents who are considering sending their children to the school, and why?
Imagine I started yelling no. I have referred the school. I will refer the school, and I will absolutely continue to, because I am floored at the level of education that they're getting, and really unbeknownst to the children, because it happens in such an organic fashion as well. The love that they feel at school and the respect that they're given at school is enough for me to continue to send them there. I know that everyone is invested in their education and in ensuring that they become really decent citizens of the world. They care for one another. The teachers care for their students. Students care for each other. Administration, like I said, is deeply rooted, deep foundation in the Maria Montessori philosophy. So if any parent is looking for a school that really exemplifies what Maria Montessori philosophy and pedagogy is all about, I will hands down continue to recommend our school.
And for my very last question for you, if you were to pick up the phone and call your past self before embarking on this entire experience at Maria Montessori, what would you tell yourself?
I would actually call my parents and encourage them to send me to Maria Montessori. But I would tell myself to trust my gut, because as soon as I walked into that school, I knew that this is where I wanted my children to be. And I had some people in my group of friends try to sway me otherwise, because obviously there's a cost incurred to sending your children to private school. And for a brief moment, I was sort of hesitant about it, but I in the end did follow my gut, and I'm glad that I did. Because this journey that they're on, I wouldn't change it for the world.